Alright, so if you haven't heard already, Sora is OpenAI's new text-to-video model that can convert fully written prompts into very realistic videos. It's like taking what ChatGPT does with words and then giving it a camera. You describe a scene using a custom-made prompt, including all the requirements that you want in the video, and then Sora generates a video based off of that prompt. So depending on what the goal for your business is, whether you're doing YouTube automation, or you're doing marketing for a company, or even advertising a company's product, then there are different ways that you can use Sora to create content. A lot of people are also using it for just for fun and making funnier videos. So I'm just going to show you guys a funnier video just as an example for this video. Now where this gets really interesting for creators and automators is combining Sora with tools like n8n, because that's when you could start automating entire content pipelines, from generating ideas to writing scripts to producing videos, all without touching a camera or even paying for an editor. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a content generation workflow using Sora inside n8n step by step. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. So we're just going to start with a blank canvas as a start. And what I want to show you guys first is how I can connect to Sora 2 through n8n. So you want to just head over to Kie AI, which is spelled Kie AI. And before we start, just make sure you add some credits to your account. So it's about $5 for 1,000 credits. That will last you like a very long time. So if you wanted to add more, there's also options for 50 for 10,000 and 500 for 100,000, and yeah, so on and so forth. But if you can't add any, then I assume that you start off around 80. So for practice purposes, I'm sure that'll be okay. But if you want to take it more seriously and create more workflows, then I'd suggest adding probably around 1,000 credits for a start. Okay, so once you have your credits, just make sure you head over to the models market here. You'll see there's lots of different models here to choose from, but we're just going to be working with Sora 2 for this video. So yeah, just go to Sora 2 for a start. After you click on Sora 2, it should bring you to the playground where you'll have a prompt box here where you just put in the prompt, any kind of video that you want, and then it should give you an output here based on the prompt. Alright, so what we want to do next is that we want to get an API to send back to n8n so that n8n knows where the data is coming from. So you just want to click here, API, and just make sure that you're on Sora 2 text to video, because there are other options here for different kind of things. And then you just want to scroll down to the request example section, and you should see a curl command here. Just make sure you got curl ticked, because there's also JavaScript and Python, but we're not looking at that today. And then you just want to click copy here, because we're going to be using it in n8n after. Okay, so once we're back in n8n, you just want to add a step, which will be a HTTP request. And as it says here, it just makes a HTTP request and returns a response to data. So it's just fetching data from an external source, which for us it will be Kie AI. And we don't have to configure any of this because we're just going to import the curl here. Just paste in the curl that we just copied, and then click import. And then once it's imported, it will have filled out all these fields and all the data here, so that you don't have to configure yourself. So there is something that will need configuring, and if you just scroll down, you see here where it says bearer your API key, and we're gonna have to go back to Kie AI to generate an API key, which we will put into this value here, so that it knows which account to take the data from. Okay, so once you're back on Kie AI, we're just gonna scroll down to the Get API key button here. Just click on that. And then by default, you should already have a API key generated here. And just to clarify, this key is very private and you don't want to share it with anyone. So yeah, so they'll put stars here to block it out. So I'm just going to copy that. And then we're going to go back to n8n in a second and then paste that back into n8n. Okay, so once we're back into n8n, we're just going to scroll down again to where it says bearer. And we're just going to paste in the API key there. And then now it has access to my account, so all the billing information and data that the platform needs to know. And then yeah. Okay, so once you put the key in, we'll need to do one more thing, because every time we run a HTTP request, we'll have to re-enter the API key, and we don't want to do that. So we're just going to scroll up here to where it says authentication. Select generic credential type. For the general auth type, we will pick header auth. And yeah, because we got header down here. And then we'll need to select a credential, and you guys won't have one. I also don't have one. So we're just going to create a credential now. Okay, so we're just going to create a new credential here. So just click new credential. And what we're doing is we're just copying what we just seen below. So I'm just going to type in authorization here. And then for the value, we're just going to put bearer. And then copy the same API key as before. Okay, so once you finish that, we're just going to click save here. And now we should be connected to Kie AI through this API key here. And we're just going to also name it as Kie AI. This way we know what HTTP request is, because when you're building automation, you'll have lots of different HTTP requests based on how many workflows you built. So we're just going to click save here. Okay, so now we'll have the HTTP request set up using this Kie AI authorization that we've set up, and you'll see it here in the workflow. So now that every single time we want to use this HTTP request, we won't have to re-enter the API key because it's already set up through this authorization code here. Okay, so we're also just going to turn off send headers here because we don't need it sent twice. And next, we're just going to look at the JSON here. We're going to open an expression so we can see it wider. And then we're just going to click here to pop it out. Okay, so what we're looking at now is basically just the API instructions for Kie AI, so that n8n knows, so that Kie AI knows what we want. And you'll just see here that has model, callback URL, and so on and so forth. And if we go back to Kie AI now and scroll down, we could just see the API instructions here. So you can see that the model here is required. So back in the JSON and n8n, we had the model, which was Sora 2 text to video, which is the model that we chose. And then we also had the callback URL, but here it says optional, so we can remove it. So yeah, we're just going to go back to n8n now. Okay, so we're back on our workflow now on n8n, and we're just going to remove the callback URL here because it did say it was optional. So we're just going to remove that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to change the prompt here. So you just see prompt, and there's 2 quotation marks here. We're just going to remove the prompt from inside. And what this prompt's going to do is that it's going to convert the text into a video. Since we picked Sora 2 text to video here, the model knows that we want to convert a prompt into a video. So yeah, we're just going to enter a prompt now. We're just going to say something like 2 chickens playing tennis. So yeah, we're just going to enter that there. Okay, so once we have our edited JSON, we're just going to click execute step here. Okay, we know that the request was successful because we can see that there's a 200 code. It says here success, and then we have a task ID here, which is just a long string of numbers and letters. So if you go back into the Kie or Sora 2 documentation, we can see that it knows now that it's received the requirements, the correct prompt, it knows what to create, what to work on, and all that's left now is to send back the data into n8n. Okay, so we're just going to scroll down to where it says query task here, and we're going to make sure that curl's checked again, and we're just going to click copy here, and then we're going to go back into n8n. Okay, so once we're back inside n8n, we're just going to exit out of this. We want to add another HTTP request, so we're just going to type that up here, and then we're just going to import a curl command again. Okay, so similarly as before, we can see that the curls automatically filled in the fields, but this time we can see that there's a task ID section here, and then there's a task value, and the task value is basically just saying what kind of requests we want to receive back from the platform. And so next, what we're going to do is we're just going to remove the value here, and because we've generated a task ID from the previous execution, we're just going to drag that into here, and then we want to set up the authentication again. So let's just remove headers here because we've already set this up. We don't have to repeat the API key. We're just going to select authentication, generic credential type, header auth, and then it's already selected Kie API as default here. So, okay, now we're just gonna hit execute step again. Okay, so you can see here that says success, so that we know that it's been completed. But if it says generating, I'm just gonna show you guys how you can check the status in Kie API. Okay, so we're back in Kie API here. You just want to go to logs, and yeah, you can see here that says success, so that we know that it's run and it's been successful. It might say for you generating, you just have to wait for that to complete. Once it's completed, then it'll be finished. It'll switch to success. It also tells you like the length of the video duration. Here says 179 seconds, and then you can also check here. It says the prompt. So you can see it says 2 chickens plain tennis, which is the prompt that we put in n8n when we were running the when we were completing the JSON code. And yeah, so you can see all those details here. Okay, we're back in n8n now, and we're just going to go over to the output section, and we can see that we have 2 results. We have one here and one here, and those URLs, one is with the watermark and one's without a watermark. So we're just gonna go to this link here, and we're gonna right click it, and then we're just gonna go to. Okay, so after you clicked on that link, it would have saved the file to your computer, which would have been the video that Sora generated for us using the prompt that we wrote. And let's just check out the video now. So we wrote, if you can remember, we wrote 2 chickens playing tennis. So yeah, we could see here. So let's just see what. Okay, so we can see that the prompt worked because it matched the video output that we got. And if you guys aren't happy with the video that you got, what you can do is you can go back to the original HTTP request and back to the JSON, and we can see the prompt here. So I've put just 2 chickens playing tennis. If it's too vague or you want more of a specific video, you can just go ahead and change this, add more detail, and just engineer it a bit more. Okay, so what we've created so far is 2 requests. One is telling the platform our requirements, such as the prompt, which is explaining what we want in the video. The other is more of a progress check, just to see what the platform has created, so that we can use it in our workflows that I'm about to show you now. Okay, now that we have both HTTP request nodes, I'm going to show you guys how you can make a text-to-video workflow using these nodes. Okay, what we want to start by doing is adding a new node, and we're going to add the edit fields node right here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to add a field here, and because this is where we're going to be entering the prompt, we're just going to put here prompt, and we're going to leave this on string, and we're just going to write a prompt here. So this is where we're going to write a prompt in the value. So we're just going to open this, and let's just say a teacher in a classroom telling their students to subscribe to Harris Waller on YouTube. Okay, after we've done that, we're just gonna, actually wait, before we do that, let's just go back here. Just so we know that what this is, we're just gonna say enter prompt, so that we know that this node is for where we're gonna enter our prompts. We're then gonna copy this HTTP request, the post HTTP request, here, copy, and then we're gonna paste it here. Paste. And then we're gonna link the enter prompt to this HTTP request. So because in the original HTTP request we had a different prompt, as you can see here, which is the one we entered earlier. Because we want to always enter a new prompt, we want to refresh this prompt here. So what we're going to do is we're going to execute previous nodes. So now we have a new prompt here, and what we're going to do is we're going to remove the original prompt, which was here, and we're going to drag in the prompts from the previous node here. So now it knows that every time we've entered a new prompt in to the enter prompt node that we created earlier, it will create a video based off of that new prompt. So it'll be automatically a new video every time. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the get HTTP request from earlier that we created, and we're going to paste that into the new workflow, and then we're just going to link it back to the post request, so that once the post request is finished, we can check the downloadable link, and then we can download that and then check the video out. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add an if statement here, because if you remember earlier, when we ran the node, the HTTP GET request, there was a status, and the status was saying whether it was successful or if it was generating. And what we want to do is that if the status is successful, then we'll finish the workflow and then we'll receive our link. So we're going to execute previous nodes here. And you can see here that there's a status here that is named as state. And what we're going to do is we're going to drag in this data here as the state, and we're going to say if the status is set as success, then the node will go to true. And once the if statement has been complete, we're just going to add an edit fields just so that we can have our downloadable link. So we're just going to get the result. So let's add a field first. Then we're going to add the result here. And we're going to, I'm going to call it as the video URL. And then we're just going to name this here, video URL. So once the workflow is finished, we'll have a downloadable link as an output there. But as we saw earlier, there's a possibility that the status from the GET request can be generating. So in our case, it says generating here. So that means that once it's been completed, we're not going to have a URL because the platform that we're using, Kie AI, is still generating our video. So what we want to do is that we want to add a wait node here in between the post and GET request. Okay, so we're just going to search up wait, add the wait node into our workflow, and we're going to make it so that every 10 seconds the node will check whether the status has changed from generating to success, and if it's changed to success, then we'll get our downloadable URL. If it hasn't changed and it stays as generating, then the process will repeat until it's changed. So we're just going to link the false to the wait node here. And this process in automation is called polling. And basically what it means is that the workflow will run endlessly until the condition has changed. And in this case, the condition will be the status, which is generating. So like I just said, if the status stays as success, if it stays as generating, then it will run back to wait. That's why we've linked the false here to the wait. And if it's successful, then it will go to true, and then we'll get our URL. Okay, so now our workflow is complete. We're just going to hit execute workflow here and see what happens. Okay, so the workflow just finished running, and we can see that it was run 17 times, meaning that every single time it was ran and it went through the this mini workflow here, the status didn't change to success. It stayed as generating, meaning that it will go back to the wait and it'll wait 10 seconds again, run again. Then it will repeatedly do that until it changed to success. Once it's changed to success, we got our URL here. So we're just going to check the URL. And yeah, so we got two URLs here. We got the watermarked URL, the non-watermarked URL. So we're just going to check that now. Let's see what it looks like. So we just finished our workflow. We just downloaded the video, and let's just see if our prompt worked.
All right, team. Quick break from quadratic equations. Check this out. See what it says on the board? Subscribe to Harry's Waller on YouTube. Trust me, you do not want to miss his science videos. They're brilliant. Is that the guy with the explosion?
And so we now have a fully working automated text-to-video workflow using Sora 2 and Kie AI. And if you guys enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like, because it helps to bring my video out there. And subscribe as well if you want to see more workflows. I also will have a free school community link in my description that you guys can join, where we're doing the same kind of thing, just building workflows, just talking with each other. And if you guys have any questions as well, don't forget to leave it in the comment section. I will be responding to most comments. And yeah, you guys enjoyed, then just like, subscribe, and see you soon.